Hello out there in cryptocurrency land. Welcome to another impromptu extreme stream. Paul is first. You are first, Paul. Congratulations, Paul. You win the prize of being the first comment to be removed from the screen when the 50th guy comments. Congratulations. Oh, Juan, you were almost second. Day Moon, Juan, Christina. How's everyone doing tonight? You guys enjoying your Bitcoin collapse this evening with your side of Ethereum? Did everyone get their side of Ethereum this evening? just want to make sure. Just want to make sure. So I thought I'd jump live tonight. Feeling kind of froggy, feeling kind of fun, having fun in the Slack chat room with everyone. I gotta say, guys, that chat room's a lot of fun. That chat room's a lot of fun. A lot of good work goes on there too, don't get me wrong, but I really like the group of guys we have in there. I think with 50 in there, there's just enough point of contention to keep people honest, and I really do like that. So if you're in here 50, thanks for joining and not being scared off by people. So, what's up, everyone? George Soros is in the house, buying Dogecoin. I think that's interesting. Munted One, what's up? How you doing? Got Christina Black in the house. She was first on my last video I made, I think. All right. What's my Litecoin prediction by the end of the year? Litecoin will be worth money by the end of the year. That's my prediction for Litecoin. Glad I could help you out with that. Glad I could help you out, Spencer. Yeah, so how have you guys liked this most recent Bitcoin action, Ethereum action? Did you guys catch my last video? Maybe it was 2 ago, where I talked about this large Ethereum head and shoulders. Do you guys think that's going to play out? Do you think that is playing out? What is your guys' views on that? Guess I'm looking to take some questions tonight for some reason. Get rid of some of these lines that don't necessarily need to be here anymore. There you go. There's your neckline. Actually, there's a bit more honest neckline right there. And that actually changes the trajectory of this just slightly. And actually, I did this earlier, and I removed that to be less aggressive with my target of $450. Yeah, I hope so too, Paul. I got a nice short there. Unfortunately, it's ETH Bitcoin, not just Ethereum US dollar. Wish I could do that on BitMEX, but we can't do that, so that sucks. George Soros is dumping the market to 3K. So that's really good. Thank you, George. Thanks for letting us know 3K is the level. That's going to be important. Eve, how you doing, Eve? Are you even in the Slack chat room? I thought I gave you a link one time. I still don't see you in there. If you are, then I don't know what your handle is. Good morning from South Africa. How you doing, Heidi? My fiance's mother's from South Africa, and she actually lived down there for 2 years, I think. I think she lived down in South Africa for 2 years, so. ADA. Day Moon thinks the action sucks. What do I think of ADA? I think it's a little overvalued. Of course, I think all of cryptocurrency is overvalued. So, ADA kind of reminds me of every crypto that I've seen over the past, little bit. Okay, and I'm saying little bit because, there's a bit of a different time frame for all of them. Most of the cryptos really look horrible. Just extremely bad. So we had this big altcoin pump ever since that everyone thought that the Bitcoin bottom was in. Everyone thought that the bottom was in crypto, and I even went neutral, which is fine. I got to move with the market action. If you can't respect that, then it is what it is. But let's zoom out here on ADA. Let me go to the excuse me. Let me go to the 4 hour. So there's a definite higher low here. We weren't going all the way back up there. That just wasn't going to happen. So all of these altcoins ran up, and a vast majority of them put in a similar head and shoulders topping pattern. If you caught my video I did today, then pretty much everything, all the top coins have some kind of a head and shoulders. Bitcoin actually already did its. Bitcoin's head and shoulder was here. That one's done. We just talked a little bit about Ethereum's head and shoulders right here. So this has still yet to play out. Keep in mind, Ethereum ran up quite a bit. Topping action, going to move lower, and that's going to be in coincidence with Bitcoin. Same with Litecoin. There's Litecoins and subsequent breakdown. Depending on where you take its neckline, there's two potential necklines here, and they're in competition with one another. I'm not quite sure which one is more valid, to be honest with you. But this is the target of one, leading us down to the lows, and the target of the other takes us down to 80, which is pretty freaking low for Litecoin. But when you think about it, it's really close to its all-time low. It's within 13-14% of these, not all-time low, but most recent lows. And I don't even think Bitcoin is, yeah, Bitcoin's over 16%. So Litecoin definitely weaker than Bitcoin there. And then Bitcoin Cash as well, having a multiple head and shoulders pattern, putting in a topping action here. And then look at on the right side of Bitcoin Cash, which had a much larger run than Bitcoin, rolling over without any pausing. I mean, had a little bit of a pause, I guess, here and here, but not much. Not much. So my thoughts on Bitcoin Cash is this head and shoulders takes us all the way back down here to the 710 level in Bitcoin Cash. That is the implied target on that, and that's kind of pretty much how I view that, is lower. Lower. So, all right, guys, going to look at some questions here. Please, everyone, hit that like button on the video if you're here. I better see 122 likes on that video. That'd be great. I'd appreciate that. So please go ahead and do that. Let's get a look at Ripple. Someone mentioned Ripple. Don't look at Ripple a whole lot because it's not sitting there on my GDAX favorites. But yeah, so Ripple put in the same topping action, same type of a head and shoulders. It's not due to, it's difficult. It's difficult with Ripple, I think, because it's such a large, weird pattern, and it topped earlier. It really, and the reason I think why Ripple was harder to deal with was because of this massive pump to $4 essentially. Just a stupid, massive move. And then if you take this as a head and shoulders, which I guess by definition it is, then we're just starting to break down from this head and shoulders. And this has a much lower implied target. And I haven't drawn this because it looks a little out of whack, but there's definitely a possibility that it could do that good. Down to 30 cents is what this implied target would be if you're going to measure and move out of this. So you guys see this yellow trend line okay? Can you guys see that okay? Or is that a little bit too thin? I just want to make sure. Marky, it's great to be in daylight when you're streaming, not like 2 a.m. as usual. Yeah, sorry, Marky. It kind of is what it is, my friend. Look at Ripple, EOS in June. Let's go take a look at EOS. I'm not sure why you mentioned June unless you're trading. Maybe there's EOS doesn't have EOS doesn't have a pairing on BitMEX. So I'm not specific why June. But let's take a look at EOS is in Bitfinex. We'll take a look at the dollar. So EOS continuing to break down from its big major run here. Keep in mind, oh yeah, June, of course, that's when the thing is. So, you know what, I would probably expect another pump going into June, but the way the market looks right now, so far it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So far, but we don't have any indications. If you guys have been following me for a while, or if you're just finding the channel, I generally don't like thoughts. Not a huge fan of opinions, thoughts, or news. I really like market action to confirm everything. Doesn't mean you can't have a hypothesis, but you can have your hypothesis and just use the scientific method. Don't put, and if you think you have a great design for the next computer chip, don't immediately invest $20 billion building a plant. You should try to make the computer chip and test it a few times first. So let the market test your hypothesis and your thesis. And if you think EOS is going to moon and it doesn't break this trend line here, you can't take a position, because there, you just don't, like right now, you just don't necessarily have the market's not telling you it's going to go higher. Now, if you say, yeah, Randy, well, look, it looks like it's basing right here. Like I said earlier, use the scientific method. If you want to test your thesis in a low risk scenario, oops, just moved my trend line. So look at all these lows kind of coming down around the same area. There's a good potential here that there's 2% to this most recent low. If for some reason you want to take an arbitrary position here to test your thesis with a small market position and give it 2% as a stop loss, I'm not going to be mad at you for that. I'm not going to be mad at all. But you don't take a full position on a woulda, coulda, shoulda trade. You need the market to, give you some indication it's going to move up. So I don't anticipate EOS moving up. But if it gets above this trend line and volume stays good, then I think, yes, you have a shot at a move. So if you guys like that kind of analysis, we do that stuff every day in the Power Hour. Going to pump my Power Hour here. We do this every single day for an hour. You can go to my website, real-crypto.com. If you like hearing me babble for a time, you can go to Power Hour right here, and you can sign up for that. It's $50 a month, and I'd like to get some information so I can know what you guys are like. Anyway, do that from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Everything is recorded. You can view it all back as much as you want, and that's enough about that. But I did want to mention that out because that was kind of what we do in the Power Hour. We generally kind of go over good market, like how to trade well, right? Like if you have this thesis about EOS, how do you trade this effectively? What are the signals you can look for? If you're looking for a bull move, is it a good opportunity to get in, to test the market, or is it something you should just generally avoid? When will AE pop? That's a great question. Let's go look at some AE. So, we've been talking about AE for a while now. AE has a spectacular chart. Something else we talk about a lot is high quality chart patterns. We pretty much love to focus on high quality chart patterns, and this is an exceptionally high quality cup with handle pattern. The only problem is the market right now looks like crap. That's the only problem with AE right now. And it's not an AE problem, it's a market problem. So this is a spectacular cup with handle, and like we've been talking about, you can't just buy it, right? Like it looks good, and we were just discussing a risk reward perspective, and a member of the Power Hour said they were going to buy it about, I think about the 43 level, I think is what, I don't think our Pete's here. Yeah, our Pete's not here, but he was the one talking about buying at 43, but the market looks horrible. I mentioned him to take a small position if he wanted to buy down here, because the market really just does look atrocious. But if Bitcoin can stabilize here, if Bitcoin can get to some point where it's not, ripping everyone's throats out, if it can move sideways here for a little bit, then maybe we'll get a little pop here. There we go, in AE. But I wouldn't anticipate this breaking out with a huge move to the upside. That would be very abnormal. Most coins will move generally with the market cycle, and the market cycle right now is not one of bullish behavior. Neo. Yes, I did see that note. Let's look at Neo. I didn't get a pairing. Guys, if you want me to look at something, give me a pairing like Neo USD, Neo Bitcoin, and also try to give me the exchange and the time frame if you can. That's something we do in the Power Hour to keep things nice and tidy so we can look at some things efficiently, and so I can effectively answer your questions, because everyone's market thesis is a little bit different, and so it's hard for me to give you accurate my view on something if I don't necessarily. Oh, thank you very much, US dollar. So it's really hard to give you something accurate if I can't have a glimpse into what you're thinking. If you just say, look at Litecoin, I'm like, okay, I could look at Litecoin, but I don't know how that relates to how you're looking at Litecoin. Anyway, so Neo here not looking so great. If you guys don't know, I do live on the 2-hour time frame. That's kind of my general chart. The reason the 2-hour is because when I pull up on TradingView and Coinigy, it gives me a ton of history, but it's a big enough time frame so I can get a broad term view and a small point view kind of simultaneously. And one thing about the 2-hour chart that I've come to notice is this 200 moving average, this 200 period moving average on the 2-hour chart is pretty indicative of trend. Like if you notice here, the 200 broke here. We broke the 200 here. We tested it here. We didn't break it though, and then we broke it here, and then subsequently we've been in a downward trend. And even up here, yeah, we chop around a little bit, but NEO was pretty choppy. But when we finally broke, that 200 was respected. So you can see here the 200 moving average is definitely headed lower. We tested it a couple of times, headed lower, continuing to head lower. I do not involve myself in coins that are pointing straight down. Yeah, I don't do that. So I'm not a big fan of NEO here. I would step aside. Pete, we were just talking about you a little bit, buddy. What's up? Aviat here as well. How you doing? Yeah, sounds back. Sorry, my microphone recently, I think, is having issues. Not quite sure why. Channel is poop. Whatever that means. Well, what's garbage about it, Eric? What's garbage? Let's have a conversation. Sounds back. Now I can look at CS credits. I'll go look at CS credits. There's been a few things. Guys, if I didn't get to you, I'm going to stay here towards the bottom of the chat, guys. Please go ahead and repost your questions here. That's okay. I won't think you're spamming. So yeah, CS credits. I'm gonna guess KuCoin. I'm gonna guess Bitcoin. I didn't get a pairing with that one. Yeah. No. Can I just say no? Will that suffice? So the only good thing here is that it looks like it's coming down to a support line. Okay, that's the only good thing about this chart that I can see right now. Coming down to a support line, possibility that you get a bounce from here, but if it gets much lower than this, yeah, I definitely wouldn't. I definitely would not be involved in this one personally. I don't trade. I don't bottom bounce. I don't bottom buy like this. That's not my style. I'd much rather have a confirmation, and this is what's called catching a falling knife. There's a saying in trading, never catch a falling knife. I'm assuming you can understand what that means. And it's generally a good idea to not catch a falling knife because it's hard to know where the bottom is. Now, in this particular situation, we have a trend line that's been respected twice, and we'll see if it's going to be respected a third time. So if you did want to catch a falling knife, you want to give it, a percent, maybe 2 as a stop loss maximum to try to catch a bounce. But past that, you really have to be diligent with your stops in these situations. Really, really, really diligent. Hard stops. No, don't give it a lot of room. That's generally bad mojo when that happens. So if you're going to arbitrarily buy a bottom, you definitely need to stop like that. Encash. again, fallen straight down. I guess the overarching question here, ladies and gentlemen, is do you think that Bitcoin is going to bounce from here, go sideways from here, or fall from here? Because this all happened because of Bitcoin, right? The overall malaise in Bitcoin, and we haven't even really talked about Bitcoin yet. No one's really. I think I saw one question. I did kind of glaze over it, not really on purpose, but a lot of chat going on here. If Bitcoin's going to go sideways or up a little bit, then you may get these nice bounces similar to like what we were looking at previously. But Encash doesn't really have a huge support line to bounce off of. I mean, it may get a bounce, but there's no support line. So it's going to be difficult to arbitrarily buy a bottom. You're literally guessing. You're quite literally guessing. Like if you look at this little downtrend here, there was a little bottom here. You could have called that one, but you'd have been wrong. And then you could have called this one, and then maybe you would have been shaken out over here. I don't know, but it's always difficult trying to catch that falling knife at the lows. Always very difficult. ICX Bitcoin. Yeah, so ICX rolling over as well. I mean, looks like most of these are rolling over. I haven't looked at a lot of the altcoins. I've been just really monitoring ETH and Bitcoin. But there's a well-defined trend line right there in ICX rolling over. That is not a good thing. Typically, when these longer-term trend lines get broken, it is not good. And you can also see here my 200 period moving average, which, as you can see, even here's a nice bellwether of the trend rolled over as well. In terms of a bounce, I don't do that, to be honest with you. I really don't do that. Is there a possibility here of a bounce? If Bitcoin bounces, I think if Bitcoin bounces, now there is, looking at the 15-minute time frame, which I just dove down to, there is a little bit of volume right here. You can see this high volume started with this candle, and you've been in this kind of high volume area. So there could be a definite possibility of a bounce here. This does look like some possible bottoming action. The kind of choppiness here, it could be some accumulation. This candle here is an accumulative candle. So you definitely probably could get a bounce here, but again, if it gets much further than this, and that's 1.35%, maybe just give it 1.5%, 2%. Yeah, you probably could get a bounce here. Maybe something into this 200 period moving average on the 15-minute, which would give you about 6%. So the risk reward there, isn't bad. That would probably coincide here with this 10 period moving average on the 2 hour. So yeah, there could be a bounce as long as Bitcoin pauses. On the 15-minute, it definitely looks a little bit more bullish, especially with that kind of choppy action at a low. That looks not horrible, not too horrible actually. Someone mentioned TRX. Let's take a look at TRX in that same perspective. Yeah, TRX, look at that, bounced off that 200 period moving average on my 2 hour chart there, coming back up. Yeah, definitely showing a lot of relative strength. In terms of why is TRX going up? Well, I think they have a mainnet launch coming up soon. That would probably be the reason why TRX would be running. And you can see here we've already drawn an inverted head and shoulders, and this target has actually been hit. The line was removed, but the target was a little bit higher, but you can call that a good hit. It was within like 1% or 2%. But again, if you think Bitcoin's going sideways or up, we could get a nice pump in TRX here. Nice high volume bottoming candle right there, bouncing off that 200 period moving average. Looking pretty good. Yeah, not completely broken down. Probably, I would say if we go over here, probably be one of the most strongest relative to Bitcoin. Bitcoin down just under 6%. Actually, Tron down 6%. So maybe not necessarily so much there in terms of relative strength. Not much Bitcoin private. That garbage coin is up 3%. But that's about it. MadeSafe coin for whatever reason. And Zencash, wow, popping like a mofo. I think a ZEC, right? Or is that the other one? No, ZEN. I always get those confused. What are you doing? What are you doing popping? You're not supposed to do that. Didn't you get the memo? I don't think I got the memo. Yeah, that is very, very strange. Cash is a good position to be in, my friend. Zen added to Binance. Yep, that figures. Binance bump. Yep, that figures. So, yeah, if you want to play that one, these can be dangerous to play. We saw that most recently. What was the other one? There was another one recently that bumped up, came all the way down, jumped up again a couple of times. That one definitely. IOTA. Not trying to ignore you there, Troy. Just trying to do some analysis, buddy. I got two eyes. They usually focus on the same thing, so it's hard to get to every comment. But yeah, let's look at IOTA. We haven't looked at IOTA in a while, actually. I don't think I've looked at IOTA in weeks. I think it had a little pump a little bit ago, and then that was about it. Yeah, so there's the little pump it had. I'm going to go to the 4-hour, get a little more history. So let's go to Bitfinex. I think that recently got added to... No? Okay, yeah, there's a little more history there. All right, let's go to the daily. Why does this not look correct for me? I don't know what's... I do not... Oh, I'm thinking of ADA. That's what I'm thinking of. I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm thinking ADA in my mind. Okay, see, that looks right for IoT. All right, see, that looks good. One of my first trades actually in cryptocurrency was IoT. Right about there. Right about there. That was good. I think I sold like over here. That's a good little swing trade right there. Yeah, IoT not looking really good. Not looking healthy at all. Not, again, that Head and Shoulders we discussed a little bit earlier, looking very, very similar to that. They all kind of have the same action up here. They all have the same Head and Shoulders type of action. You can see well-defined right there. Pretty well-defined neckline. And an arbitrary target. Not arbitrary, but an implied target of about 70 cents. Ugh. 70 cents. Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of IoT. Most of these altcoins are going to have the same. Most of the altcoins are going to have the same pattern, guys. Really. So it looks like Nano, ARN. I'm going to breeze through some of these. If they have the same pattern, I'm just going to kind of call it out, right? So Nano breaking down from my trend line I had here. Someone was talking about buying Nano, and I mentioned, if it gets down below here, and it did get down below there. That's why they never re-asked about it. So, Nano not looking good, living below this low. Coming back to these all-time lows, I guess that's why it bounced. Could be due for a bounce, but I would just avoid this until it breaks some kind of trend line or breaks a prior high or a moving average or does something bullish. Something bullish. There's a trend line right there in Nano. I would just avoid that. So, yeah, guys, I don't bottom buy like this. Maybe I should do some more bottom buying, but I don't know, man. Maybe it's from my background in the stock market. Just arbitrarily bottom buying like this tends to not work out very well. Just generally tends not to work out, especially if the market looks bearish. Like we're seeing now, market looks pretty bad, and I don't like arbitrarily buying altcoins. I'd much rather buy something like TRX. TRX is kind of sitting near highs. I won't buy it in the base. I would buy it on a breakout. I would, employ the same strategy that I would with anything else. I would buy it off of some green volume coming up, and I would even buy the bottom off of this. I actually would buy the bottom if I had some green volume. There's a little bit here on this bottom candle. You can see right there, nice green volume. That's one green volume candle, but one bottom candle does not make a bottom. One green candle does not make a bottom. And, unless you get over this trend line, maybe with continuing green volume, that may get me interested or you interested. And that's how I would approach it. I would wait for some strength. CMT. CMT is a coin that we've been tracking for a while in the power hour. We saw it actually the other days. It was trying to get above here, or maybe a little lower. I don't remember exactly. And then, yeah, it moved up overnight. Good volume, nice declining volume. CMT, probably one of the more healthy coins in the market right now, to be quite frank with you. I still don't know if I would be getting super aggressive. These bounces have been consolidating sooner. So there's a big run here, then a consolidation, then a little run, then a consolidation. So maybe we're going to have another little run, then we're going to consolidate in a smaller way, and then maybe we'll eventually roll over. But CMT, probably one of the more healthy coins in the market, and I generally would be more involved in a CMT or a TRX than I would with those coins down there way at the bottom. But, really I wouldn't get super heavy with much right now. ZEC TC, not the same. What's ZEC TC? I do not have my AE position on Asmoon. No, I do not. I sold that a while ago. Once it broke down from that resistance level, that was the top. I pretty much sold a little bit lower from there once it was clear it wasn't going to continue higher. ZECTC, not the same. Not sure what you're referring to there. I'm not sure what ZECTC is there, Aviad. Want to elaborate a little bit? That'd be great. That's ZEC. Oh, ZEC Bitcoin. Okay, so that is this chart right here. Was I looking at the dollar or something? So, yeah, this one is a little bit different. Yeah, this is the one that pumped earlier, right? This is the one that, this is the one that got listed on Binance. No, it wasn't even Binance. It was like Gemini or something. I think this one got listed on Gemini. Huge pump. I'm actually quite impressed that this thing has been pretty stable here, living above this kind of 40 level, 37.7 level. A little impressed it's been living above that, to be honest with you. It has also been capped, by these highs. So it's living within this range. There's a possibility you could buy lower, sell higher, but I don't. Let's go to the daily and get some more perspective. Come on, chart, you can do it. So we'll come back to that. Let's look at some sub USD on hit BTC. Thanks for the good pairing, my friend. Andrew, thanks for the pairing. That's always helpful to get to chart quickly. So yeah, another one diving down into the dirt there. Diving down into the dirt, we have the. I should have been looking at relative strength of some of these probably. But yeah, diving down there into the dirt. I'm just generally not a huge fan of buying these huge dips like this. They can give you some nice bounces, but you have to get it at a decent level, and I think you have to have an expectation of some kind of a bounce before you get in. But if you do buy this, it would just be for a bounce. It probably would not be for a prolonged hold. Probably even for, several days. I probably wouldn't even hold it for that long. But yeah, sub coming all the way back down towards these most recent lows. I guess if you wanted to take a position, you could, but you run the risk of just getting stopped out. And that's the other thing about buying these spike lows, guys, is that when you're towards a low and you place a stop loss under it, without a good clear reversal candle or reversal setup, you have a higher percentage risk of getting stopped out. So even if you take a 2 or 3 or 4% risk, that that risk can actually get greater because you're expected to get stopped out, right? Your expectation of getting stopped out is greater. So your risk actually kind of expands even further. Talking about ICX, a good buy at these levels. So yeah, I'm really, so why these levels? Like what's specific about this level? Is it just a feeling? Are you guys looking at moving averages? You're looking at, is there an RSI here? It looks like, yeah, RSI is down here pretty well down towards 30. So, that's not horrible. You got an RSI down here at 30. We also had RSIs over here at 30. There was a little bounce there. RSI here at 30 right here that just rolled over again and continued lower and lower and lower. So moving average support, okay. So if I go down to my 2-hour, which is a pretty decent indication, like we've been looking at, and even with ICX, you can see here it respected this 200 period all the way down here from this level. This 200 was respected here, here, and here. Then finally broke up, and now we broke down again. So, I guess it's just a little bit of a different trading style, right? It just depends on the style. Not saying it can't bounce, but again, it's like you don't know. So going back to the RSI, if which one of these 30s is going to bounce up and which one's going to fail, it's hard to tell that, and I'd rather just sit in cash personally. BNB MA support, that's going to be a different chart. You're looking at like a 1 hour, 15-minute. I'm looking for something here, Aviad. I'm trying to join you. So yeah, maybe the 15-minute on this 50 period, but you got the 200 period sitting there right holding you down too. So Factum, long-term thoughts on Factum. I don't have too many long-term thoughts in cryptocurrency, and let me tell you why. Because cryptocurrency really has no value. I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, and that's fine. But, there's really no, let me go to the 2-hour here. Yeah, there's really no definite value with most of these cryptocurrencies. Like, Bitcoin, Ethereum probably has some value. EOS may have some value if it ever, if it launches, when it launches. But a lot of those other ones, a lot of the other ones are just going to go to crap. Like, keep in mind, guys, 90+% of the cryptocurrencies you see in the market today are not going to be here in 5 years, maybe 10. A very, very vast majority of them are just going to really be nothing. And the networks will slowly, eventually die. You'll just have a lot of really cheap altcoins running around because the assets won't go away because there's always going to be some douchebag running a blockchain somewhere. But they're not really going to be tradable assets. You're not going to be able to make make a lot of money out of them. So, all right, Avia, let's have the conversation, my friend. So. Yeah, so here's the thing. Litecoin $1,000 this year? No way. You're not getting Litecoin $1,000 this year. Nope. So here's the thing. I know about Walton Chain. Like, I know what it is. I know what it does. I don't know its network usage. Okay, so here's the well, if you want to, Edward, you can go ahead and ask. If you have any questions about that last video, feel free to ask them, buddy. That's what I'm here now. This is the kind of funny thing. Ooh, XMR. We were talking about XMR today. Yeah, the XMR today scared me. Like, legitimately scared me. Yeah, it was the US dollar. So we were looking at XMR before it broke this trend line here. XMR has um, so first of all, XMR is a coin that's been around for a long time, right? XMR has been around for a while. Big privacy coin. Um, but this overall trend line here looks like it's under pressure, and that is not healthy. So one of two things is going to happen here, right? We're going to have a nice bounce off of this support line here and this trend line, or we're probably going to just roll over, and XMR is going to go into a long malaise period. All right, that's probably what's going to happen here, and I don't think that would be good. Like, see, this is the thing. We all know that Bitcoin rules the market. The question is, can some of these altcoins give you indications of health or strength, strength or weakness in the market? And I think the answer to the latter question is yes, they can, but it's not set in stone as for which ones are going to give you the signals and which ones aren't. XMR to me feels like one of those coins that has a lot of usage and is generally going to be a much more widely used coin for its privacy features and such. So, I think, like I said, it's gonna bounce here and we're gonna go a little bit higher, or I think it's gonna malaise underneath these trend lines, and that's a little scary to me when you break these longer term trend lines. As a technical, analyst, that's really really concerning to me. Now, it could mean nothing, but we'll have to wait and see. Mexican Charlie Lee, why can't Litecoin get to 1,000? Well, because it would basically have to go up 1,000% from these levels. You know, like there's no catalyst to go to 1,000. For Litecoin to go to 1,000, Bitcoin would have to go back to like 20,000. So now again, if you look at Litecoin implied within the chart of Litecoin, there's a head and shoulders pattern here that takes us either back down to 110 or down to 80. That's really what I'm not sure which one of these is the correct trend line. Is this trend line or this trend line? That I'm not quite sure of. So I'm not exactly sure which one of those is accurate. Both could be accurate depending on where you want to draw that right shoulder, because I have a hard time really saying that this is valid, calling for Litecoin $80. Let me zoom in a little bit here. Get rid of this line. So you can have this as your shoulder, or see, this is a stronger shoulder because of the gap between here, but I just have a really hard time calling for Litecoin $80. All right, and then but if you draw the line like this, which you could also do and call this the shoulder, that only takes you back down to Litecoin 110, which is in line with recent history, but it's a much weaker right shoulder. So that's kind of, I agree, I kind of agree, Craig. That's why I have both of these up here, because they're both possibilities, and it's just not a very clear pattern in either direction. But either way, it's negative for Litecoin. And like we talked a little bit earlier, Litecoin is weaker than Bitcoin. There's 13% to these lows, with Bitcoin at 17% to the recent lows. So there's definitely a relative weakness to Litecoin, which could put this $80 thing into play if Bitcoin really starts crashing. Like, if Bitcoin starts crashing, guys, this isn't far off. Like, from a measured move perspective, you could take you could take this move, the breakdown to the bottom point here, and boom, that's $80 right there. I mean, Litecoin has made these moves before, so it's not out of the question. It just seems unlikely. And like I said, I don't believe in opinions. I don't believe in thoughts. I really believe in market action. But either of these could be valid. We looked at NEO a little bit earlier, and I wasn't happy with the action in NEO. I definitely don't bottom buy. I'm not a bottom buyer. That's not really what I do. And so, NEO coming down here, really really falling, isn't something I'm comfortable purchasing at these levels. There's no accumulation patterns down here. There's really nothing saying that this is going to stop. Mexico's going to load up on BTC. Well, do it at 110 or 80. Don't do it at 126. Don't do it that. So Craig, what's up, Craig? How you doing, buddy? I didn't notice that it was there while you were chatting. I didn't notice it was Craig Neve. I just was going about my business. I don't know who Craig Svensson is, more bearish than Randy. So keep in mind, I'm fairly bearish, but again, I like to keep an even keel. I like to not get emotional. Okay, emotional is not bueno. Emotional is not bueno in trading. But yeah, so I do think I actually just recorded another video about a bigger trend in Bitcoin, and here's kind of me watching my own video, trying to check it out. It's pretty long. It's about 20 minutes long, talking about how the market cycle has shifted a little bit. But yeah, so you'll probably see that post if I like what I see. Sometimes I remake my videos a few times. But yeah, back to Neo. I don't see anything really shouting out that you should buy Neo here. But then again, there really wasn't anything here shouting that you should buy Neo. And I've mentioned this time and time again, I don't bottom buy like this. Like, I would much rather buy off of this signal here. I'd buy this a million times before I would buy this. I'd buy this a million times before I'd buy this candle. This is a hammer candle, right? Coming off of a low with good green volume. This looks promising. I would not buy it. What I would buy is a potential break of this, right? Just kind of like how I did over here, right? I would buy this break of a prior high, but I would not buy a single candle. I would never buy a single candle. That's, it would have to be a very spectacular candle, like a capitulative candle. This may get me in. This right here may get me in. But again, I'll be selling as it rolls over somewhere, so I'll have a profit. But, I'd much rather buy this. XLM BTC. Night, babe. You going to bed? Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, so XLM BTC on the daily here looks like we have kind of a weird cup and handle. Looks like it's starting to fail. Hasn't quite failed yet. The volume really dry. Volume's really dry over here. Something's going to happen. Can't say exactly what. Can't say exactly where. But the volume's getting to the point where something's going to have to happen. The volume's really dry here in XLM. Really dry here. Good quality coin. I still think this is well within the top 10. Yeah, number 8. So still within the top 10. It's at a supportish level. All right, and then going earlier to, trying to buy some supportive action. There is a little bit of a base that's formed here. There's a good potential you can maybe buy as it, breaks this level kind of in the 368 level, something like that. If it tries to break above that, it's only 1% higher from here, so you're not really giving up a whole lot. But, more than likely, you can have a decent pump up here. But, going back to my 2-hour here, guys, look at this thing, respecting this 200-period moving average on the rollover and on the run-up. I'm really loving this 200-day moving average, 200-period moving average, more and more and more every single day. Really, really enjoying that 200-period moving average. What's up, babe? Yeah, Joshua, if you want me to look at something, I don't mind. I always love the algos, and I always love stuff like that. You can email me at randy@real-crypto.com. I'll go ahead and type it. So there's my email. Feel free to email me. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. But yeah, in terms of XLM, like I said, I would probably buy off of something like this. I'd much rather buy off of an expectation for it to go higher than I necessarily would just arbitrarily buy a level. But yeah, you could get a little bounce here in XLM. That's a possibility we have. Just like a lot of other coins, if Bitcoin pauses here or gets bullish, we'll probably have a bounce in several of the coins we've been looking at. But, I would like to catch it on an up thrust versus then arbitrarily buying a low, even if it costs you 3 to 4 to 5%. Seems like AE and ONT still holding up well. Yeah, ONT was doing pretty good. This tab crashed. Yeah, ONT was holding up pretty decently. Nothing too crazy. Yeah, man, that ONT. Ooh, eventually I'm gonna put together the video of like the best of the power hour where we bought ONT like right there, just like literally minutes before it ran up. That was that was awesome. That was a lot of fun, I gotta say that. But ONT holding up extremely well here. Same with CMT holding up extremely well here. There's still definitely some basing left to do, some work left to do. I would not arbitrarily take a position. I would wait for a breakout to occur. But yeah, overall looking really good here. Overall looking pretty good. Becoming the new 80. Let's take a look. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out 9 minutes. We'll call it at an hour. Call it evening. And we'll go about our business, do our power hour tomorrow. And have fun while doing it. Yeah, Strat holding on pretty good there. Not doing too bad at all. Not doing too bad at all. I do like the increased volume here. Holding up higher, not falling down with the recent Bitcoin action is definitely a good sign. If it can get over this most recent high here, kind of at the 75.7 level, I think that would be very good, and maybe could take a stab at it. But I probably wouldn't get too bullish until then. Tether holding up well today. Well, that's always good to hear. I really like it when Tether's doing good. Populous. What's Populous? That's one of those coins, PPT. Oh, PPT. That's Populous? I didn't know that. I did not know that was Populous. That's so funny. Yeah, the guys have been talking about PPT in the power hour. We had this, they mentioned it because there was this big volume coming in here. And it was really interesting. It popped up, it came down, went up again, and then this big malaise. I don't like this action. I don't know what's going on with the volume, why it goes from super low to super high. I've seen it in a couple of coins. I don't know the rationale why. No one's been able to explain it to me, and I haven't been able to figure it out on my own. So I'm not happy with this volume action. I'm generally not happy with coins that continually return to lows like this. Now, again, if you did maybe want to buy something at a low, that's fine. But the break of this trend line, I'm not happy with. I'm generally just not happy with this. Coming all the way back down here after such a big run up, not healthy action. I would avoid this. No discounts for the power hour as of yet. We do the power hour 7 days a week, guys. It's 30. Actually, the power hour is really an hour and a half. I think I've done 5 actual hours. We've done some 2-hour power hours. We've done some, most of them are between an hour and 20 minutes and an hour and 30 minutes. It just ends up being that way. But yeah, sorry, no discounts on the power hour. I think it's already probably one of the best paying values that you can get that I'm aware of. Knowles BTC Binance. Our Pete says your discounts the money Randy makes and saves you. Yeah, it was pretty cool. We were in the Slack chat room earlier, and one of the guys that's a newer member, apparently he's been watching for a while, Says he found me in February, and that I saved him a bunch of money, and that was really good to hear. I like when I honestly I really enjoy. I really like it when people say that I stop them for making a bad decision. That's to me that's more important than making someone money on a trade, because if you can stop from making one bad decision, it's going to stop you from making 20 other bad decisions. Because that decision will perpetuate. Because we make choices. We make choices every single day with every single trade. And if you can not make bad choices, it just saves you so much. I can show you a trade in a setup, but it's like a teach a man to fish kind of a thing, right? All right. I'm putting you in timeout, Success. If you comment again like that, I'll go ahead and remove you. B&B, please. We haven't, actually, I didn't really quite look at Knowles yet. Yeah, so Knowles, interesting. Knowles having a very big, this is what's called a saucer with a handle, at least on the 2 hour. Let's go to the daily. Probably look more like a cup. Yeah, so cup with a handle right here. The handle, we tried to break out. We failed, which isn't too bad. But yeah, so far, looking like a pretty healthy handle here. Um, 50-day moving average in this case moving up. I would say if Bitcoin can get moving good, then Knowles is probably going to be a coin that can move. Again, another very large cup with handles, similar to AE, right? We just need to see action. And here's another weird little crazy thing. You know, side. Low volume action to some high volume action to some more low volume action. Don't know why that happens, and it freaks me out. We were looking at Knowles actually right in this area, right before it ran up, and the volume just dried up into nothing, and I couldn't explain why. Again, no one can explain to me why these strange volume things occur. And, ran up, which is fine, but then started basing again, and it looks like lower volume. This is more normal volume. This is easier to read to me than this is. I mean, obviously you can see here there's more green, but yeah, anyway, long story short, if it can break this trend line here on some good volume, then it's probably going to go ahead and move higher, and probably higher, higher, higher. And if it can break this overall high here, right there, this all-time high, well, over on this side of the pond, I guess, that would be 50. Let's call it 59. Call it the 59. If it can get past 59 on high volume, this thing's probably off to the races and going to have a really nice run. But nothing to do yet. You got to let it break out. What's up, Gomri? How you doing? Gomri's in the house. Why does Bitcoin Cash seem to rally stronger or weaker versus Bitcoin? Great question, Christian. That is a good question. Why does Bitcoin Cash rally harder? Well, there's no very clear answer to that, to be quite honest with you. I think number one, because people kind of forget about it. I think in some way, shape, or form, now this is, guys, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, like, not really. I'm not really a conspiracy theorist, but Roger Ver really pushes the bejesus out of this thing, and I get it, it's his baby, he probably has a crap ton of Bitcoin Cash in a wallet somewhere, but it really wouldn't surprise me if he just buys a crap ton of Bitcoin Cash just to pump the thing up, just to get it out there. To be honest with you, there's really no fundamental reason why Bitcoin Cash would pump higher and fall harder, which it does. There's really no main reason for that. It is a fork of Bitcoin, but other than that, I mean, there's really no reason for that. The only thing you can do in this particular case is just recognize the behavior and trade it appropriately. That's all you got to do. You don't really have to know the reasons, and you'll probably never know the reasons. You'll probably never ever know the reasons, and it's okay. That's okay. You just, as long as you know what it does, as long as you're familiar with the coin and how it behaves, that's the most important thing. Why? Who the hell cares? TRX mainnet going live in a week. Do you think this will have a pumping effect on the price in this bearish time? Well, I think it is already having a pumpish effect. And guys, we're going to I'm going to only take a couple more questions. We're going to get out of here. The hour is up. It's about getting to my bedtime. Yeah, so it's already having a bit of a bullish effect. We had an inverse head and shoulders here where the rest of the market was putting in normal head and shoulders. This thing put in an inverse and did run up, sitting here towards these most recent highs, putting in a potential cup with handle here, albeit it's a little mal-shaped, a little malformed. Higher volume in the handle is not normal. So it's an abnormal cup with handle to be sure, but it could work. You never know. And Char, that's the only reason why I said it, because I'm not a believer in a conspiracy theory. But Roger Ver, like I said, look, the dude owns Bitcoin.com, and it's a shill for Bitcoin Cash, which really pisses me off, to be honest with you. If he wasn't such a shill for it, it probably would be a better quality coin. But, actually, when I move money between exchanges, I do use Bitcoin Cash. It takes me 3 minutes. BNB. Yep. We'll do some BNB. Hold your horses. But yes, please feel free to repost these questions. I don't take offense to it. Neither should you. Not ignoring anything on purpose. So I do ask if you, give me a pairing there, Aram. Is it USD or BTC that you're looking at trading? So let's see if there's a major difference between the two. Yeah, there's enough of a difference. Enough of a difference in BNB. So against the Bitcoin, BNB against the Bitcoin, we kind of have this very large-ish cup with a handle type of a situation here, and a failed breakout here so far, but still having higher lows, which is good. We could subsequently get another breakout, and as we do know, there's this a potential, well, maybe you don't know. So in a cup with handle, what you have is a large saucer or cup type of configuration, and this is quite a large handle, but that's fine. And then you have a failed breakout here on major volume right there. But the good thing is that we have higher lows even after these most recent lows in the handle. And so that's bullish. If that can continue, if this doesn't break down any further than this, right? Like ideally we would like this to maintain the trend. So if it can maintain the trend and the trend line, then Bitcoin Cash probably can't, or Bitcoin Cash, BNB probably can pump pretty nicely there. But you're going to have to wait for that. Again, wait for the breakout. I don't arbitrarily buy lows. Dash. Yeah, Dash. What's happening with Dash? I don't look at them in a minute. Water break. Dash BTC daily. Eek. See, this is what's funny about trading some of these larger altcoins versus Bitcoin. How the hell do you trade that? Like seriously, how do you trade this effectively? I mean, it's outrageous. It's really, really outrageous. I mean, granted, you can get some nice pumps out of this, but you really got to be on top of your weird-ass game. And, it's going to take a lot of signals to get you into this. Yeah, I don't know why you would trade this. I have no idea why you would trade this. I'd much rather trade something else. I mean, all this chop right here, I understand it's sitting at lows, and that always looks good. There's kind of a line right there, kind of, I always try to get kind of an equilibrium line. You can put this all the way down here at the bottom, but obviously that was only touched one time. Guys, I think I'm going to end up with BTC, and that's pretty much where we're going to end up with this. So after Dash here, I'm going to do BTC. Maybe I'll look at WPR for 2 seconds because you posted it there. But, when I draw these trend lines, I really try to be honest with where things could more than likely go. And this level is a level that's been respected several times. This level being 4177203 or something like that. So while yes, it could spike lower down to here, that's something you do have to be prepared for. There could most definitely be a pump up there. Yeah, Eve, you can watch the Power Hour videos. Actually, I'll log in and show you the Power Hour page. Since you asked for it, Eve, so here's the Power Hour page. You get the link for the stream, and you have all the recorded streams. We got them going back to March, all the ones in April, and then all the ones in May so far. So yeah, they're all there posted, ready to go if you want to watch them. Just to kind of throw that out there, but yeah, in terms of this Dash trade, I do understand it's at a low. You probably can't have an expectation for a good return. About 7% to this particular trend line. With a possibility for a pretty damn good upside. I got to be honest with you. Maybe it's not such a bad trade, but it would be difficult to trade. And the fact that we have a bunch of lower lows here, like you can see, there's a general uptrend here, a general choppy trend here, a general downtrend here, like I talk about in the market cycles webinar, right? You have the different market cycles. The question is, Bitcoin, we haven't seen a Bitcoin bear market ever since Dash has existed. Okay, so we don't necessarily know how a further Bitcoin fall is going to affect Dash. We don't know that. And because you're pairing this against Bitcoin, I think you have to take that into account. If Bitcoin falls just as much as Dash does, maybe this just goes sideways, but it most definitely could bounce from here. I see that. But, again, I like to invest with an expectation of a return. If you're doing this for a much longer term investment, I guess, yeah, I guess you could take Dash here. But, looking at Dash versus dollar, which is Dash on its own recognizance, it's still living lower as well. And looks like there's a kind of a trend line here potentially that we've already broken once, breaking down again. I don't know if this is the best trend line being broken like this, but yeah, generally I'm not a fan. I wouldn't be a fan of Dash until it can get over a prior high, to be quite frank with you. All right, so let's get to these last few. WPR, Binance, Bitcoin 4-hour chart. No, do you hate yourself, and why would you do this to yourself? And that's my analysis pretty much. Yeah, sitting at all-time lows, don't buy anything sitting at all-time lows. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. Reason being is because it's broken all support, and so you have no idea where it's going to end up. None. So you definitely have to wait for a base to form and a breakout of some fashion to happen. So, you may buy this, you may get lucky, it may bounce, but it's luck. It's 100% luck. Do I use log charts? Extraordinarily rarely. Generally, no, I do not. Walton Chain. Walton Chain Bitcoin 2-hour. So you can see that 200 period moving average rolling over here. This one being chopped into a little bit, but generally respected. This one also, sitting right on support. And so this is the thing with the market right now, guys, for those of you that have stuck around. This is the thing. We've seen a lot of coins tonight on support. A lot of coins tonight on support. So the question is, are the smaller altcoins sitting on support indicative of a bounce or indicative of a breakdown? Because what we have in the larger coins is topping patterns. Bitcoin Cash, topping pattern. Bitcoin, it's been falling. Its topping pattern already happened. Ethereum, topping pattern. Head and shoulders, headed lower. Litecoin, topping pattern. Looks like it's headed lower. So all the top altcoins have topping patterns. All the crappy altcoins have these kind of support. Okay, I'm just going to kill that chart. All these other crappy coins are sitting on a support line. So the question is, are these all going to be supported, or are they all going to fail? Because one or the other is going to happen. That's It's going to be a tough day if they fail. That's all I'm saying. It's going to be a tough day if they fail. Um, and you know, I'll leave you kind of with another piece of advice here. It's better to save your capital than to be scared of missing out on a gain. I would much rather miss out on a run than be stuck in a loss. Okay, and that's the market situation that we're in right now. You know, are you trying to catch a bounce and trying to catch a gain because it's a good trade, or are you trading safely and securely with your capital? Well, I'd say if you're trading a lot of these bounces, I mean, look at Bitcoin. Oh, this is Litecoin, so it's worse. Okay, Bitcoin's not as bad as Litecoin, but it's still pretty damn bad. You know, there's really no expectation of a bounce here. We failed the declining wedge. You know, let me go back down to the 2-hour charts here. Like I said, I'll end with Bitcoin. We failed the declining wedge here. You know, right there. We failed that declining wedge. We're actually back inside the declining wedge. So I guess in theory, we could pop up from this level or something, although I deem it as unlikely. We do have some high volume candles here, but we're basing here more than likely for lower action, at least from what it looks like right now. That looks like a bear flag on the 2-hour. And definitely looks like a bear flag here too. There's some bullish tendencies here. Maybe we get a little pop out of it, but I don't think it's going to be anything egregious. So, and again, you can see in Bitcoin that 200 period moving average really being respected as well. So until it gets above that 200 period moving average, I'm pretty much stuck in downward trending mode in Bitcoin. But are all of these things, are all of these cross signals? What do they mean, right? What do they mean? So are these crap coins sitting at support going to support everything, or all the top altcoins showing topping patterns going to bring everything down? You know what I mean? It's a duality of things. And then Bitcoin sitting here, basically, it looks bearish. I think we're bearish, but it looks fairly neutral. It's in the middle of a range. It's already broken down, but it's in the middle of a range. Could be supported at any, there's like 2 or 3 points lower that could be supported. It's tough to say, guys. Tough to say, but Bitcoin doesn't look good. Can I give us an idea about the gold chart, please? You want me to look at gold? I'll look at GLD, but I'm not going to spend all day on it. Already over by 12 minutes. This is kind of how my my power hour goes. I always spend way too much time. So looking at actual gold, the GLD. So here's the thing. It's been forming. GLD's been forming this pattern. This is generally gold, right? It's kind of like a wing pattern. There's a number of trend lines that work here. There's this trend line pointing those two together. There's also a more immediate trend line right here, which actually is trying to be supported right now. So if we get much further down below this trend line, like kind of the 120 level maybe, odds are Bitcoin's just gonna, or gold's just gonna fail. But, I wouldn't be involved in gold right now. If you did, that's okay. Like, if you want to get involved, give yourself a little stop loss. I don't know if you're trading futures or what you're trading, but it's not looking super bullish yet. We were looking for a breakout. We were looking for a breakout of gold over this kind of $130, $128 level, something like that, 129, right where these highs are. We didn't get it. So, back to the drawing board, really. We're kind of stuck in wait and see mode. It's easy to say, but we don't want or hear it. $4,000 Bitcoin. Yep, it's definitely in the cards. 4,000 Bitcoin could be in the cards, guys. Definitely could be in the cards, but we'll just have to wait and see. There's, always a potential for a rebound. The volume's been extraordinarily weak, so if we have some big buyers come in and step in, that could reverse all this and take us higher. So, all right, guys, I'm going to call it there. Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it. Please do check into the Power Hour or just generally check out my website. I've got some webinars up here if you guys are interested in learning about some pointed topics. I've got one based on how to buy the bottom in Bitcoin, which kind of an ill-timed webinar, if you will, and market cycles webinar, which this is actually a really good one for anyone at any investment level, just to generally learn about the market cycles. If you're new to the market, you definitely should watch this one. It's a long webinar. It's a really long webinar, but really goes into how the markets work at a holistic level, and how to deal with bull markets and bear markets, and what have other markets done in the past too. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.